And away we go. It is the nightcap brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken. Get down to Galactic Fried Chicken in Dayton, Kentucky. Tell them to pump it up. Save yourself 15%. You can order it on the app for Android, iPhone, and everything Galactic. Visit www.galacticfriedchicken.com to download that app. You can order it for anywhere inside the 275 loop. Again, tell them to pump it up when you order it over the phone or just order it on the app. And enjoy yourself some Galactic Fried Chicken. It's pretty fantastic.
I'd like to have some right now.
Man, I mean, I've been thinking about it all day. I'm not even kidding you. When I went and picked up my credentials, the kid who handed me my credentials said, I said, Aaron Smith. He said, oh, Galactic Fried Chicken. I was like, I mean, kind of. Obviously, Chad's not here. He's doing the volleyball dad thing. So Dave Simone is filling in for Chad. Today was the spring game. And so me and Dave and Brent and newcomer Keegan, we all got to hang out today on the sidelines for the spring game. This is the prettiest spring game that I've been a part of since joining the team here. Last year, it snowed, and we were in the bubble. The year before that, it was cold and rainy, and then it got humid towards the end. But yeah, this is certainly the best weather that we've had. Gorgeous day to be out at Nippert Stadium.
It was very nice. I was happy to be there.
Yeah, I think there were probably a couple thousand people in attendance.
Oh, yeah, I would say 5-ish, 5 to 10.
Somewhere. I mean, when you consider all the people that were up at Truly, both the home and away side had fair amounts of people, and then you have people sprinkled in either end zone. Just great day to be out with family. You had plenty of former Bearcats in attendance. Names that I know that I saw were obviously Sauce Gardner, Trey Tucker, Tyler Scott, Will Huber, Isaiah Peed, Hiroki
Nakamura.
Yeah, he was there.
James Tunstall, Lenny Taylor.
Yep.
Trying to think who else.
There were a lot of guys hanging down in the
probably
end
some
zone.
others.
Yeah, there were definitely
Pierce.
some others. Javon Hicks. But yeah, definitely some dudes hanging around the program. You like to see that, especially with Luke gone. It's a whole different regime here, and yet they're still out there supporting their boys. So I was encouraged by that. But let's get to the nuts and bolts of it. Dave, there was a quarterback battle raging today, and
that's one way of putting it.
Ben Bryant got the first snaps, and Emory Jones did not let that deter his determination out on the field. We saw touchdown drives by both guys. I'm not sure that either guy necessarily separated from the other in this instance. What did you see out there from those two guys?
I would agree with that. I mean, I would say that they were both fine, good. Like neither of them threw an interception. Ben had the strip sack on the first play of the scrimmage. Daniel, Zach told me how to.
Griziak?
It's not. No, it is Greshik.
Oh.
Yes. I believe I'm saying that right. It's been a long day, but it is not what I think Chad and I have been, and maybe you as well, have been pronouncing it as. But, you know, like you said, on the one Emory Jones touchdown drive, I think he went 4 for 4, hit Peyton Singletary on a couple nice plays.
Let's stop there. Peyton Singletary looked great. Obviously, the tight end room has been hurt with the projected starter going down I forget his name every time. Joey Belgian.
Oh, that yes.
He had transferred in. He goes down. His injury looks to be out for, I believe, the season is what people are saying. So he goes down, but Peyton Singletary looked really good today.
He looked solid. Yeah, I was not expecting a great showing from the offense, so I think they exceeded my expectations a little bit. They did not have very many big runs, so I was a little surprised at that. They did have some bigger plays in the passing game. But 4 for 4 inside I would call it like the tight red zone. They were starting those drives around the 9 or closer. At the end of practice, kind of that last period, the offense went 4 for 4. Emery and Ben threw touchdown passes. Corey Kiner had a rushing touchdown, and then I can't remember if it was Brady Lichtenberg or Jacob Hoyne that maybe threw the last one. Not remembering. But no, I thought the offense as a whole did okay. They gave up what would have been a few sacks, but like I said, there was a one interception, one fumble, not a lot of there weren't moments where I was like, geez, these guys just can't move the ball at all. So
if you're talking about the 40-yard touchdown to Barry Jackson, that was pretty druggish.
Yes, that one was. I'm
okay.
No, that one wasn't in like the periods.
Not in the red zone. That was
that was a good, really nice throw, really nice catch. Barry Jackson's been he stood out at the one practice I was at. He stood out today. I've heard Chad's mentioned him several times. Coach Satterfield mentioned that he's probably the guy that's improved the most from practice 1 to today. And
right.
Given the situation at wide receiver, I think it's fair to say as long as he keeps progressing, he's going to find himself on the field come the fall. So
I thought it was interesting that Emory Jones said he had never seen a freshman look like that, at least at receiver.
Really?
Since he's been playing.
I don't know if that's a good or bad thing.
You got to consider it at Florida and even at Arizona State. Maybe you're not getting.
Florida didn't have a lot of very good wide receivers when Emory was there. So,
but I don't know. I thought that was interesting that he had not seen a freshman look like that, and those are two programs that have usually a fair amount of talent on both of those teams.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, sticking offensively, Stephen Bird has run real hard the 2 practices / today that I've been to. He's broken a lot of tackles. Sterling Burkhalter had a couple nice catches today.
Yeah, he did.
Donovan Ollie, I think, would have had a really nice play if it wasn't called back for a pretty obvious holding / tackling by the offensive lineman. But that was one of a very few penalties. It was a pretty clean practice. There were a couple false starts, that hold, 2 turnovers, but it seemed like the operation was pretty on point. I'm trying to think who else offensively. Brady Drogish, I thought had a good scrimmage. You can clearly see the talent is there. It'll take a little bit of time, but and it's they're moving guys in and out so much, and certain positions are much more shorthanded. So it's tough to sit here and go, these guys played 1v1s. These guys played one offense versus 2 defense, stuff like that. Most of Brady's reps, I'm assuming, were against 2s and 3s, but he still looked the part. He had the one nice touchdown to Barry Jackson. So offensively, I was more encouraged than I think I was expecting going in. They ran the ball, I don't know, okay, fine. There were some nice runs, but there was never a real wow play in the run game that I remember. Am I right there? Did you guys see anything? Did you see anything differently?
Anytime you're throwing a 40-yard touchdown like Brady did to Barry Jackson, I think that was probably the wow factor.
That was the wow play of the
day.
I would say that and
Barry Jackson.
Jair Thomas holding on to the touchdown pass from Brady Lichtenberg when he got drilled by DJ Taylor.
Who was it
in the end zone?
Who was it in the end zone? In the northern end zone that caught the fingertip pass. Was that also Barry
I think
Jackson?
that was Barry. Yeah. No, that was Burkhalter actually.
You sure?
That's yeah, because I thought it was Barry Jackson, and then they announced
Yeah.
it was 84, not 14.
Okay. Yeah, that was
It was on like the opposite corner
yeah,
from where I was standing, so I couldn't
same.
tell really well, but I think that's right.
Was that the one from Ben?
I think so, because Emery's, when they got down in tight, was to his second touchdown was to like one of the reserve tight ends that I had, walk on from Mason, I think.
And correct me if I'm wrong, I believe every quarterback had a touchdown.
Yeah, I think so.
On
Yeah,
a touchdown drive.
They had Ben and Emery each had like what I would consider a real sustained drive. 50 or more yards, not where they started at the 30 or something like that.
Yeah.
Each one of those guys had one of those. Obviously, we touched on the 4-for-4 at the kind of the red zone period, and then there were some other touchdowns sprinkled in. So it certainly wasn't 100% defensive dominated.
Well, and that's why I bring that up is because the defense has been heralded as the stronger suit of the two. And for this offense to go out and, to your larger point, that they impressed you quite a bit today. I don't know. I'm just
I would say the
happy to see the defense didn't just completely dominate.
No, the defense still, I think, had the better of the scrimmage.
I'd agree.
But it wasn't as glaring as I kind of maybe thought it might be, just because they had struggled to pass block at the practice that I was at. And it's hard. Even in this situation, it's hard because, you're like running by the quarterback and they're blowing the play dead. Well, if it's Emory Jones and you're running by him and you just like reach and you never would have actually like sacked him, but they blow because he would have probably stepped up or taken off and ran. Like, then they blow the play dead. It's like, well, what are we counting that as a sack? Or we, when in a real game, that's probably not what would take place. So it's still tough to gauge those things. But a guy that's Chad's written and talked about him, he had an interception at one practice earlier this year. And then when the practice that I was at, and then today, James Camden from Anderson playing linebacker has been pretty impressive. Like, he's second team and making plays. Jordan Young has had a great camp. I mean, if he can stay healthy, he can be that number one type corner. He's been very sticky in coverage. Deshaun Pace has had a great camp. That's not a huge surprise, but it sounds like he's really taken to what is this position called? The dog? Star. I mean, I don't know what it is. Linebacker / nickel / safety / just whatever. Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams is a guy that had an interception dropping into coverage, and then almost had a second one. Dove and couldn't quite come down with it. But he's a guy that I have kind of pointed to that if he can take that next step and be a rush threat, he clearly has some athleticism, dropping into coverage and reading Brady Lichtenberg and being in a spot that I just don't think Brady expected him to be in because he threw it right to him. The defense, that would be a big key on the defense. They're going to send pressures. They're going to be exotic. They're going to be aggressive, but they still don't have that 6'5", 250-ish type defensive end comes in on third down, and it's just like pin your ears back, go get the quarterback. And he can be that guy. So hopefully this is just like a continuation of what I think was a fairly strong spring, and then today had a pretty active scrimmage.
So the last real question I want to kind of leave you with is the portal opened this morning.
Buckle up.
What I don't know, three to five positions do you think that this staff really needs to key in on?
Well, obviously wide receiver. I mean,
Yeah.
you have 8 guys. I think 2 are walk-ons.
2 are walk-ons as I'm looking.
So,
yeah.
I mean, in a perfect world, probably 3 or 4 just receivers.
I agree.
And that would still be shy on probably what they would ideally want as a whole room.
I think they're probably looking for around that 11 to 12 mark.
Right? Yeah. And then I would say, I mean, offensive line, specifically tackle. But again, like if you're a tackle with, like I saw the guy for Oklahoma State this week, started all 13 games last year for them, entered the portal. Like that guy is probably getting called from everybody. I mean, a starting caliber Power 5 offensive tackle.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, there's teams that don't need one, so they're not, but good luck. I mean, so somebody with tackle experience, because, you've got John Williams and Philip Wilder, and then you've got Cam Jones, and, then you're Ethan Green. So you're pretty raw at tackle all the way across the board, whether it's a first string, second string. Tight end is something I would assume they're going to look at. These are all possibilities to add because we don't know what the numbers are. Like you can say you need 4 wide receivers, a tight end, a tackle, a safety, a front 7 guy. But, I mean, who knows? We don't know how many spots they have. We don't know how many guys might leave, which I'm sure some will. It's just a part of the nature of it, especially with the new coaching staff. I'm sure there were players that thought, hey, I was thinking about leaving under Coach Fickle's staff. Let me get a fresh slate here with these guys, see how the spring goes. Okay, the spring's over. I'm pretty much still in the same spot. Okay, I'm going to go look and see if I can maybe get on the field somewhere else.
Yeah.
So that's not going to surprise me. So, I mean, nothing would surprise me. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they added double-digit transfers in this period, too. Now, that's going to depend on who leaves, numbers, things of that nature. But, like,
I think that's also an ideal situation, right? Like, that means they got the guys, all the stars aligned, and they got the guys that they were looking to add for the positions they were looking to add. I think that without you haven't mentioned anybody on defense, and I think that defensive end would be a spot that they may be looking to add. I wouldn't be shocked to see them add anybody in the secondary, corner, or safety.
Safety for sure. I think they'll be looking at. I don't know about corner, but I could see a safety. I could definitely always somebody in the front 7, whether it's a linebacker or a defensive end type guy that can get. But again, defensive end's kind of the same as tackle. Like, if you're in the portal and you've done anything in your career and you can go rush the quarterback, like everyone's going to be like, yeah, we can use you. Why don't you come play? Yeah, be on our team. I
mean, think about what it took to get Noah Potter here last year. I mean, he had to lose an eye and have it replaced back into his skull. And that was how we ended up landing a Noah Potter during the same window last year. So
yeah, so we'll see. It's open till the end of the month, but once you're in, you don't have to decide in that same time frame. So somebody could show up higher ground. Who knows?
It'll be
you're gonna have guys that graduate,
right?
Figure that stuff out. So I'm sure there'll be a bunch. I mean, I was retweeting several wide receivers. I mean, basically every wide receiver. I retweet just as a joke. Like somebody jumped in. Like I retweeted some dude from TCU, and some dude jumped in my mentions who must be a TCU fan or knows. And he's like, he's 12th on the. I'm like, I didn't respond, but I'm like,
we don't have 12.
We don't care.
We don't have 12.
He'd be 8th on our depth chart, no matter how good that he is. So It's like, yes, hey, if you're a wide receiver and you enter the portal, I am retweeting you just as a joke, being like, please come here, or yep, keep him cut. Like, I mean, I think the staff feels the same way. Like, they want to see it flooded because it helps, the opportunity there. If there's only 3 or 4 elite or higher end guys, then it makes it much harder. But if there's 20 and you're trying to get 3, you got to, obviously you're playing the numbers game, you got a much better chance.
Exactly. Well, Dave, thank you for filling in tonight. Do appreciate it. But that is another Bearcat Journal Nightcap brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken right here on BearcatJournal.com.